first thing that happened with Insidious is that James and I came up with an idea that we felt we hadn't seen in horror films before, which is this idea of astral projection. Looking at that idea, the best way to house it, we thought, was inside a traditional haunted house film.
Insidious is really Lee and me harking back to the kind of like classic haunted house movies that we love. There are many great things I love about the haunted house genre. I think it's very important that when you're making a haunted house movie that you pay a lot of attention to the actual house itself, because the house is a character on its own right. And I think one should take as much time casting the house as you would cast the actors in the film. And I really wanted people right off the very start of the movie to look at the house in the film and go, well, obviously it's a scary haunted house. Look how scary looking it is, you know? Like, look how old and ancient and creaky it is. One of the things that I really wanted to carry from the start all the way to the end is I really wanted the film to have a pulse of its own, like the movie has its own heartbeat. And the way I captured that heartbeat at the start of the film is through the ticking grandfather clock. And it sets a tone, you know, it kind of lulls you into a trance-like state.
Daddy!
Oh, hey, buddy. Slow down. Hey.
Whoa, this is awesome!
Share with your brother.
I think it's very important when you're setting up a situation where a house is going to be haunted. You've got to be able to relate to these people before the outlandish stuff happens.
Have you seen my box of sheet music anywhere?
I don't know, babe.
We look at them and we project ourselves into their shoes. We go, that's us. What would we do if we were in that situation?
I think that jump scares have become overused in modern horror films.
Kelly's room! Someone's in Kelly's room! Someone there!
So one of the rules we had for this film, one of the little commandments I had when I was writing the film is no false scares.
If you're gonna go to such great effort to set, you know, the audience on edge and you're building it up, you know, I want my payoff to be real.
If you're going to put them through the trauma of a big scare, have it be real. Have it be the bad guy who's making their presence known.
I want to leave this house. I can't spend another night here, please. Please, help me.
Okay. We're going.
When we shift and we move into the second house, I really want the house to just feel like a very happy, bright, sunny suburban home. That you wouldn't think anything, you know, bad or creepy would happen in that house. But yet, you know, the second home is when things get even more crazier.
I think depicting a ghost in somebody's kitchen lets the audience instantly identify with it. Because when they leave the theatre and get in their car and drive home, they're going to be in their kitchen. Night is going to fall, and that film's going to come back to them if it was effective. And so I think that's why they resonate with audiences.
The haunted house genre deals in a world where we all can relate to. We all live in houses, we all live in a space that we feel like that is our sanctuary, our fortress. And I think it's that concept that you cannot control it is what makes it scary. We didn't want to make just a typical haunted house film. We took what people think is a haunted house film, and then we spin it. And so, the second act of the movie becomes a possession movie.
The defining characteristics are basically seeing somebody who is innocent and pure start to devolve into something demonic.
The other sort of classic convention, who else do you turn to for help? Since you cannot turn to the police, you turn to a priest.
It's first line of a joke, right? Guy comes home to find his wife with a priest.
We thought that that was the logical thing for the family to do, but then we straight away pushed it into a different direction that you realize, guess what, the priest isn't really going to help this family out.
With both the haunted house genre and the possession genre, there is a gradual build. You can't start at 100. Then there's nowhere to build to.
Stephen, do you have your sketchbook?
Yes I do.
Good, because we're going to need it.
These possession movies tend to really spiral further and further out of control.
Hey, what is it?
There are some classic staples of the haunted house genre and the possession genre that you're almost forced to deal with when you're writing one of these films. The seance scene.
Okay. Dim the lights, please.
I remember getting to that scene and thinking, oh man, the seance scene. It's a bunch of people sitting around a table holding hands. What am I going to do here that could be possibly different? So I'm sitting there racking my brain, and it just occurred to me, what if the medium wore this strange kind of World War II gas mask that she spoke into, and her assistant interpreted everything she was saying?
I can't see in here.
I was thinking visually that would be so striking that it would take your mind off the fact that you'd seen the seance scene many times before.
Another great classic conventions in possession movies is the character that's possessed needs to deteriorate. They need to get worse as the film progresses. It's a ticking clock thing, I think, because it adds more jeopardy towards the end of the movie because you want to build to a climax.
Leave this body now!
We loved the idea that what starts out as a very traditional haunted house film turns into a thing where it's actually the boy that's haunted. But ultimately what we wanted it to become is something we haven't seen much of, perhaps something we haven't ever seen anything of, which is the astral projection genre.
It's useless. I have no idea what I'm doing.
With the fervor, one of the things that Lee and I really wanted to do was give our new spin to what is otherwise, one could refer to as a limbo world. Is it the limbo world or is it hell?
Hello?
One of the things that Lee and I really wanted to do is to show you this astral dimensional world, this crazy world that's out there, right? But hinge it in our world. It's a very heightened world, but at the same time, it's very grounded in reality as well.
The further is just a name for something that is beyond our world. It's further than our world.
When Patrick goes into that world to look for his son, he's actually revisiting the first house at the start of the movie. What we wanted to do is go, okay, you've seen this house in a realistic environment. Now we're gonna show you that same house, but now through the point of view of the ghost, of the entities.
We wanted the ghosts to look like dolls, like relics from a different era. Frozen in time, living this same loop over and over.
What these ghosts want to do is they want to live again.
The film sort of starts in this very naturalistic way, in a home with a family experiencing the same problems we all have. And then by the end, you've entered this other world. I think that other world gives you license to be a bit more theatrical. We were inspired by filmmakers like Dario Argento, who take a very operatic approach.
Red and black are my color palettes that I love. It really adds to the psychology of the film. And I really wanted the color red to represent the evil in the movie. You know the film is effective if you go home at night and you cannot sleep, or you start to think about the film that you've just seen, and it slowly creeps into the back of your mind and has planted an insidious seed in your head. That is when you know you've successfully created a effective, scary film.
This is Ben Wolf behind the scenes of Insidious.
Action!
Stop it.
Welcome.
Making horror films, ironically, is a lot of fun. You know, that's why a lot of people want to do it.
Wolf.
What?
James likes to keep a good mood on set when he's directing.
Just give us like 10 minutes.
He loves to joke around.
My scooter. Mine.
You know, he's very serious about what he does, but he keeps everyone laughing, and really the director sort of establishes the mood. So the mood is already going to be light, no matter what film he's directing.
Action! Hello. What's up, buddy? Oh. Check it out.
Whoa.
Share it with your brother.
Patrick has been so great for me in this film because I'm not a father, I'm not married, and so I actually had to rely a lot on Patrick's own experience with, being a married man and a great, beloved father to his kids.
Okay, we can do that.
Patrick was great with the baby. I mean, he's got kids himself, and he was really good with the baby, which would cry a lot, so I think the baby needed a lot of attention.
There's a camera right there. We could take a picture of the camera.
I actually took a lot of advices from Patrick as to how best to deal with the kids.
Really well on this one.
You just falling down. Your head really hurts.
Interestingly enough, Ty played Patrick's son in the film Little Children.
And so part of the reason too why I cast Ty is because not only was he a great actor, but he also has a shorthand chemistry with Patrick already, having worked with him before.
He's making a comment. This is a comment for me. We've come up with a story. Tell him what the story is.
It's about a dog and on a boat, and the boat sinks.
You want to see another rehearsal?
Yes, please.
All right, let's do another rehearsal, please, Patrick and Rose.
Insidious is a pretty intense movie, and Rose and Patrick would joke around all the time.
Can I not have some face cream?
What about like a sex toy or something? Just putting, not even coming, just batteries in it.
I think that added to the chemistry that I wanted them to have as a husband and wife team. No, he wants the face cream. He's already got the face cream.
Can't take my shit.
Dad?
Yeah.
Did you see my eyes open?
No, but it worked.
It's hard. Though.
But you did.
But you did a
But
good
you
job.
did it.
Anything worth doing is hard.
There's very few stunts in this film, but the ones that there are just brilliantly done.
One of the great ones is, throwing Lee's stunt double across the room, smashing into the wall, crashing onto the credenza, and falling off onto the floor.
I'm gonna hit that air ram and get catapulted into that wall.
They have this hydraulic pump. It's basically a ramp, a springboard, that when you step on it, it springs up and flings you, so you can get that extra push.
We're hot. Ready?
Ready.
And action.
And cut!
Danny, okay?
Okay, Danny?
Looks nice in the film.
Lee did some good dialogue today, but I think I stepped it up with the wall stunt. You know what I mean?
Ready? And action.
In the initial first cut of Insidious, when Patrick first enters the further, his character physically floats through the world. And that was playing with the theme that, you float out of your body and you continue floating into this other world.
So we actually shot that whole sequence of Patrick floating.
All right, let's see if let's try and center up now,
Blood's
guys.
starting to,
I know.
legs are starting to tingle.
Because I'm sure he's not comfortable here.
But we just felt like that was something that maybe took the audience out of the film a little bit. And so we actually reshot that.
And action.
Right? Like as soon as I get away, right? So it's like bam, and then bam, you go.
We had a scene in the script where Patrick's character confronts the long-haired demon, played by Jayla Rose.
Jumped up again.
It never ceases to amaze me what these stunt people are capable of doing.
3, 2, 1. There you go.
That was awesome.
Shooting 2/3 of the movie in 2 very confined houses, you know, when we finally got to shoot the last act of the film, the demon's lair, was such a breath of fresh air for me.
I'm gonna pull you back as you're walking. You're walking.
That was the one set piece that really allowed me to really open up my imagination. Ty is an amazing young kid. I think that kid has a bright future in front of him. But because he is a kid, you know, and the subject matter we're dealing with here, you know, like monsters hiding in the dark, is very scary.
Ty was fairly afraid sometimes because the demons were pretty scary.
I try to kind of get in there with him, you know, and try to explain to him as much as I possibly can that it's not real, that, you know, all of this is make-believe.
Nice. When you go like that and you kind of look in your mouth, you can kind of see your other teeth.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, you see his teeth. And you see how the inside of his mouth is not painted? You see that? It's not painted at all.
James would take him into the makeup trailer and show him Joe Bashara, who played the demon.
That's the real Joe.
Something like that.
And show him that, look, you know, before all the makeup gets put on, it's actually just a guy.
Are they glued on?
No.
They pull right off.
See, you see it. See, look, it's all painted.
Every chance I get, I try to kind of bring myself down to his level. Like literally, a lot of times I would kind of like, you know, get down, you know, so he can see me eye to eye, and so that he can see that I'm not just a grown-up telling him what to do, but that I'm actually his friend.
Action! Go, faster, faster.
Everything's practical, and if you wanted hoofs walking on the floor, hey, guess what? You stick it on 2 sticks, and you just sort of stomp it along the floor, and you just shoot the close-up of the hoofs.
It doesn't look scary at all, but you forget the magic of editing and sound effects and music and everything that can turn something that looks comical into something quite scary.
Action. Keep backing up.
One day, the ghosts had been sitting around too long, I think, and they suddenly decided to do a dance.
Zombie hands, and let's add some jazz fingers.
Jazz fingers.
That's what happens when you have a whole bunch of extras just sort of sitting around and not have much to do. They start to amuse themselves.
Zombie hands, spirit fingers, zombie hands.
And I think that's great. Again, it plays into that thing of how you amuse yourself on the set of a horror film.
We are the ghouls, and we're too cool for school.
It's a very light mood, believe it or not, on a scary movie film set.
Bye. Yeah.
That's the best you've got?
You get a bunch of your friends together and you go out there and you know and you're trying to do, you know, like crazy things.
It's fun. It's a fun movie.
Come on, step aside. Let the screenwriter deal with this.
No.
We had a great time making this film. A really great time. Au revoir. See how that was better than just
over
bye?
here.
It was French.
Au revoir, monsieur. If you're a girl. If you're a girl.
I just got rewritten.
I wanted to create characters that are a bit out there, very theatrical in the way they look. I love the idea that my ghosts, in a lot of ways, are trapped in time.
And action.
We wanted to have a multitude of different ghosts. We didn't just want to have one villain. We thought of it like a pyramid. At the top, there's the scariest one, the most malevolent. And then below him are almost like these minions that are more benign but still scary.
I really wanted the film to start off very slow, where you don't see anything, right? But I really wanted to build towards the ending, you know, where you eventually start to see basically a whole range of these entities that are trying to cross into our world.
Dear. I play a fiend. A ghost, I guess, in the spiritual world. Kind of a bad guy, a badass ghost. I kept rooting for the Krispy Kreme fiend, you know, where I just be eating Krispy Kreme donuts all the time.
The long-haired fiend was actually a character that was inspired by a story that Lee and I had heard from a friend of ours. He said one night he woke up and saw a man dressed in a long trench coat with long hair pacing outside his room. So that was where the image came from.
The long-haired fiend was more of a villainous character. Many of the other entities weren't, they were just there, but this particular character was there to basically take advantage of the weak.
What we end up with is someone who's devoid of color, who has, you know, clothing that looks sort of industrial and quasi-military, but with this like strangely long, heavy leather sort of duster trench coat.
James wanted him scarier, but not as scary as some of the other entities that we had.
Eleanor and I decided that sweeping his hair off of his face would be best because it just lets his actual appearance look more like you can actually see he's dead.
Oh my God! Josh!
His face is always changing, you know, like you see, is it a skull? Is it rotted? You're not quite sure what it is that you're looking at.
Ben?
I knew I wanted a creepy kid in the film, a creepy ghost kid, but I didn't want the kid to be played by an actual child. I knew I wanted it to be played by a grown-up.
The dancing boy was really great to create. Ben Wolf played him, and he is a small guy. But my feeling always was that it kind of had to be something that was from the early 20th century, so anywhere from like 1900 to 1912, in that range.
Okay. Great.
The idea is that if you have seen pictures from that time, that look is familiar to people.
Okay, stand by. When James and I started talking about this film, we wanted to have one central entity that would be the scariest.
One more. All right. Ready? That's good. That's good.
The reason why he's called the lipstick face demon is because he literally paints his face with a red lipstick. It's kind of like a clown, you know, it's his twisted way of trying to make himself look like a good, happy person to try and entice you to him.
He's the one who's out there trying to suck in the spirits of innocent people, especially children, try and get them out of their bodies, to draw them out into the further so that he can then go in and inhabit their body.
So the difference between a demon and a ghost is that a demon was never human and ghosts were human. So ghosts used to be people and then they died or went into the further, and they retain that human quality, but a demon is always other.
James said, I want him to be bald and I want him to be paunchy with hair on all the wrong places. And he wears lipstick and then he just kind of smears it all over his face and it's just creepy and wrong.
One little interesting piece of trivia about this film is that the demon character with the lipstick face is played by the composer, which is bizarre. It would be like finding out that Darth Vader was played by John Williams.
The demon is almost like a character out of like some crazy mystical carnival. If he was to exist in our world back in the 1800s, he would be behind cages and he would be seen as this oddity.
Ready? Let's light the candle.
The old woman in the film is actually played by a man, which is something that James just thought would be a macabre touch, you know, to have a man in drag.
And blow.
When people asked him why, he said, it's just creepy. And you don't know if this is a man, you don't know if this is a woman, you don't know. It's just disturbing because there's something not right.
I mean, we knew that it was going to be a Victorian dress, and we knew that it was probably going to be black, and we knew that there was probably going to be a veil.
What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
I came up with the idea of a washed-up child movie star who wore very thick pancake makeup, had an antiquated hairstyle, overdrew her lips, and just was kind of wrinkled and it was thick.
She's dressed as if she's getting married in a weird way. It's this weird, off-putting sense of looking more attractive.
Leave me alone!
I love the horror genre. It's so much fun to be behind the driver's wheel of making people scared.
I love working on horror movies.
Nothing like horror to really get your creative juices flowing.